Hello, Dr. Mashburn. Hope you're having a great week so far. I wanted to start out by apologizing for submitting this assignment late, especially without letting you know ahead of time. I was out of state, caught up with a family emergency. Thankfully, everything is handled now. So here we go on holding procedures. So according to the CFI notebook, I love those guys. They have a lot of useful information there. Holding procedures may be required of you if encountering traffic congestion, aircraft emergency, equipment outage, waiting for clearance, so that's your EFC time, in order to buy time for ATC, poor weather, or maybe there's an unavailable runway. So buying time, like that could be if the runway is needed for another aircraft, then they just have you waiting your turn. And so some of the basics with holds, there's two types. There's timed holds as well as distance holds. For your time, if you're under 14,000, if you're 14,000 feet and under, you're 1 minute legs. Whereas over 14,000 feet, you're going to be 1.5 minute legs. All your holds, you're going to have two sides to it. There's the protected side and then your non-protected side. That's pretty simple. Obviously, the protected side is the side that your plane's protected on, so that's the side you want to stay on. There are different types of holds. You can hold on with a VOR, NDB, GPS fix, or you can hold with a DME on a radial, or VOR radial. There are also a couple of speed limits based on your elevation or your altitude for the hold. So if you're 6,000 feet or below, you're limited to 200 knots, and that's basically just for the radius of turn. And then for 6,000 feet, well, above 6,000 feet up to 14,000 feet is 230 knots, and then above 14,000 feet is 265 knots is the speed limit. And that's basically just to ensure everyone is turning in the proper radius to stay within that protected area. So there are multiple entry procedures when getting into a hold. There's the direct, teardrop, and the parallel. And then you have your standard hold and your non-standard hold, which is your right or left turns. Right turns is standard, left turns are non-standard. And the reason I waited until our entries to talk about that is because there's the easy thumb rule, and there's an example of this on the entry procedure slide, and that's an easy way in flight to show you how to decide which entry pattern you need. And so basically that if you're heading due north, then where your radial what region your radial lies in is the type of entry that you're going to perform. So teardrop, you're going to cross the fix 30 degrees off the outbound radial into the protected area, and then you're going to start the timer at the fix, and after a minute you're going to turn inbound to intercept that fix, or to intercept that course. The parallel, you're crossing the fix and you're flying right along the non-protected side. Now they say you don't want to be on the non-protected side, but you're just right off of it, so this is kind of the exception. And then you want to turn opposite of your turn. So if you're in a standard turn where you're turning right in your hold, then you want to make a left-hand turn so you're in that protected side as you're turning back to intercept that inbound leg. And then you're going to fly the inbound leg into your fix, and then you're in your hold. That turn is approximately 225 degrees, and that'll give you a nice intercept angle, and then you just intercept it and track it in. The direct is the easiest one. You cross your fix, and then you just immediately turn that outbound hold, or to that outbound leg, and then you're automatically established in on it. So next slide right there shows you another view of the different entry sectors for your holding pattern. And I mean, clearly along your flight, if you're able to set it up for direct entry, that's the easiest one to do, but a parallel is not that hard. And I mean, Parallel's not that hard, and Teardrop is super easy as well. So crossing the fix, as you cross, there's the 5 T's. You have to turn, time, twist, and that's where you're gonna twist the OBS to your radial that you're tracking in, and then throttle for 90 knots, and then talk, telling ATC when you are established in the hold. So I used a couple sources, obviously the FAR aim book, Langley Flying School, and then the CFI notebook. So thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.